Now that you know some of the basics of PRAAT, I'm going to teach you how to measure voice onset time. In our last video, we labeled this word as PAT. So if I click on it and press tab,
PAT.
we hear PAT. So it is selected in pink, so that means if I press the select button, we can zoom in on it further. Now, we're concerned with the voice onset time of the P, so let's zoom in a little bit further on the beginning of the word. Now right now I want to find the burst, which is an impulse in the waveform. So we see it's pretty steady along here and then it starts to taper off. So right there, where it tapers off from that dotted blue line, that would be a relatively good place to put in a boundary marking. So now I'm going to zoom out so I can kind of see where the periodicity of voicing occurs. So you see this is pretty noisy, so that's aspiration. But this periodicity, that's the vowel of the A. So if I zoom in here where I include some of the aspiration and some of the periodicity, I can see where that voicing or periodicity starts. Hence, the voice onset time. Okay, so we see some kind of noisiness, and it starts to get a little bit more periodic. Okay, so it's a little ambiguous as to where to put my marking. Why don't I just see what it sounds like right here. So if I press here and click tab, now if I zoom out, we'll hear a little bit more. Okay, so that sounds pretty vowel-like. So now if I highlight this much and press tab, that sounds pretty noisy. So I think that's a pretty good spot. Sometimes it's hard to tell. People will kind of fight about what's the best spot to put it in, but for our purposes right now, this should be good. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit more, and I'm going to put the boundary marking there, and then I can zoom out. Okay, so now we have the word PAT, and it is marked for VOT. So this space in here represents the voice onset time. Now if I press tab while I have that selected, we hear kind of a breathy, there's definitely no vocal fold vibration going on there. Now if I select the second boundary marker and press tab,
PAT.
we hear at. So we don't hear that P. So it seems like I did a pretty good job. Now if we want to see what the actual voice onset time is, we know that P is aspirated, so it's going to have a longer voice onset time, and we do see up here the differences in duration. So it's also labeled down here as well. So we see that the total duration of the recording is that much. We see in this entire window that it is this much, 1.387 seconds, but in the part that we have selected, the part that's representing our voice onset time, we see that it is 0.088 seconds or 88 milliseconds. So there you go, that's voice onset time. Good luck.